Well, welcome back, blade lovers and blade aficionados, watching this old sword blade reviews. I welcome you. Hope you've been enjoying all the content. And I have for you today a beautiful knife by Artisan Cutlery and designed by Dirk Pinkerton, well-known designer. We'll bring out a couple of other of his designs before the review's over today. Before we take a look at the knife, that's what the knife comes in. A ginormous pouch, much larger than is needed for this knife, but that's okay. Got plenty of padding in there. Of course, we have the usual, let me back out a little bit. Don't want to spend too much time showing you the pouch. We've all seen them before. What I thought was interesting is that what Artisan is doing is putting this little card in with the specs on it. However, not all the specs are there. Some very high level ones. The steel is S35VN. It's a frame lock, hardness of 58 to 60 HRC. Ceramic bearings, and handles made out of titanium. It's a model number 1838GD. That's it. That's all you get. So we're going to do our own specs today. I could have pulled them from a web page, but I'll show you one other curious thing about this level of Artisan knife. It comes in this big old honking box as if the pouch wasn't large enough. But this is kind of unique if you haven't seen these before. Got this big old tuna can. Yeah, I mean, you can use it on your bureau for stuff. Put your pocket change in, your watch, your rings, whatever. Just an aluminum box, or maybe it's, we got to check it. Ah, it's steel. Of course, quality steel. Reason I'm laughing is these get put away. Some of the boxes that I save, and I've got too many boxes, believe me. So anyway, that's your Artisan box and your Artisan tin can. Let's get down to the knife. It's 2.5 minutes in. My God. This is the Tacit. Originally came out in all titanium. This one is half carbon fiber and half titanium. It is fully carbon fiber on one side with just the back spacer and probably a little hardware in there to hold the pivot. We've got on this particular version some beautiful Damascus stainless steel, and researching the first Damascus stainless I got from Artisan was for the Ray Laconico designed Centauri, and I wanted to know. Some people said, "Oh, it's OS 8, it's this, it's that." Artisan does list it as S35VN Damascus, so you can argue the point, but I'm going to call it S35VN Damascus. Have a serial number on there, which is difficult to read. Because of the Damascus, you can't get a really good read on some of the numbers. You're probably seeing it through the camera better than I can by the time the video posts. But very little billboarding. We got the Artisan logo. Got the Artisan logo again on the pivot. The blade braces on these two stop pins that are external, that some people are able to use to open the knife, and we'll show you that in a minute. Have a titanium pocket clip that is kind of angled and not deep carry. It's frame lock with a hardened steel insert. And this just came in today. No oil, no adjustment. Real beautiful opening. Very easy. no problem whatsoever. It is a very thin knife, so we're going to take some measurements. And we're going to start with the handle. Not the clip, the handle. 0.42 inches on that handle. And we'll grab the blade in the closed position, 3.2 millimeters. Pull out the old tape, and this should come in right at about 8 inches. Let's see. Nope. We're going to call it 8 3/4, slightly less. The blade, however, is I'm going to call it 3 3/8. I'm going to call the cutting edge about the same, 3 3/8. So not quite like a 3.4-inch blade if you're going to use the decimal equivalents in inches. It is, however, a very light knife. Let's see how light. Ho ho ho! 2.93 ounces. Yes, it is light. And it is, again, lighter than I think about the 3.5 ounces of the original titanium model. Now this is now coming in the carbon fiber as well as a micarta, like a canvas micarta. I like G10, I like carbon fiber. It's got such a nice look to it. A lot of people feel it's overkill with the Damascus. I feel it's a perfect match for the Damascus. They're both designed, textured, glowy kind of materials. Say what you want about the Damascus, that the high carbon Damascus is better, so on and so forth. Well, somewhere along the line, somebody figured that people like Damascus and the concept of it, but they don't like their knives to rust so easily. So hence we have stainless Damascus. Still about as usable as any straight steel that they might offer it in, like S35VN. This is not a large knife. There's a very interesting thing about it, and when I heard Peter from Therapeutic Edge do his review on this back a few months ago, because these have been out for a while, he has large hands. I don't have hands that are as large as his, but I can fit a full hand on there. The ergos are great and they're neutral. He does this cool thing with jimping, this design inside the frame on both the carbon fiber side and the titanium side. It's kind of its own internal jimping, and he does the same thing right there on both sides. And you're going to see that on something I'm going to bring out in a minute that I already reviewed. But here's the concept. No, it's not a large knife, but it's not a small knife. If you hold it cross palm, that rounded back strap fits right in the hand. Almost, you call it a saber grip, whatever, thrusting grip. And Dirk does kind of orient his designs towards being, shall we say, martial arts, streetwise, useful. Okay. You can square up on it this way. You can put your thumb on the back of the blade, even though there's no jimping way out there. There's a nice swedge. And speaking of the shape of the blade, it's a Tanto with an upswept point, almost a Persian meets Tanto kind of thing. And I did a review on the Nomad by Kaiser, which is another Pinkerton design. I didn't bring that out on the table today, but that's a straight Persian sort of a design with an upswept blade. This has some of that influence, but it is up here, it goes down, and then the point never really rises that much again. Not as much almost as the thumb ramp. What it gives you is, if you don't look at the Tanto part of the blade, it's just a pointy blade, right? But now you got this long front face on it. You got the secondary point. And you got a long flipper tab, which I understand was redesigned after the prototype, according to Peter, borrowing some of his factoids. Thank you, Peter. Gives you a lot of leverage, pulling back on that light switch fashion. And yeah, you can feel it. It's a lighter detent. He was able to release it with, and I might be pushing on the lock bar. It could be my problem, but I'm not going to try it on camera. But I couldn't try it off camera. I could not get that to budge. Could be that my detent's a little tighter than his. I don't know. I'm not going to consider those to be thumb studs, although they really look like they should be, right? What they do is they rest the blade in that notch when it's closed, and in that notch when it's open. Therefore, you got no stop pins, and therefore it's wide open in the back, with the exception of the titanium backstrap, backspacer, where it says Artisan Cutlery. Now on the other Artisan, the Centauri, that also put the maker's name there, but it was a little longer backstrap. You got your lanyard pin, nicely embedded, discreet. And as I promised, let me pop something else out here that has some similar design notes. This is the full-size Main Street by Concept, which came out recently. Look at that. Same pattern. Right? See the pattern? Similar pattern. Right there. And guess what? Didn't show this on my review. I should have. There's the same pattern in there. Yep. So he likes that. And there it is on the back. On the back and on the underside. Same pattern. Back and underside. I thought that was kind of neat, but that's another Pinkerton design. Again, useful Wharncliffe, but with some other purposes in mind, perhaps. And here's a Kaiser that a lot of people had interest in. This is the Inversion by Dirk Pinkerton. All titanium, S35VN. Very unusual knife, meant to be held point down, edge in, hence the term inversion. Speaking of words and naming, this one's called the Tacit. So, if you looked it up, I sort of knew the meaning. If you looked it up, you would find in the dictionary, Webster's or whatever, that tacit is an adjective meaning understood or implied without being stated. Your silence may be taken to mean tacit agreement. So I guess there's some things that are understood but not being said about this knife, right? Let us put it up alongside some other known quantities. Yeah, the Rat 1's going to be a bigger knife for sure. Again, I wouldn't call this a small knife. I have small knives like the Wee Banter and so forth and other ones. Wee Banter comes to mind. Griptilian. Blade is a little longer. Overall, it's longer because we got a much longer handle. What Dirk is doing here is really maximizing the knife. At just under 3 ounces, I mean, it's hardly there. Haven't carried it too much. I mean, this came in about 2 hours ago, so figure I'd get the review right out there, show it to you. Knife's been out for a while. It's been out for, I think it came out mid 2020, if I'm correct. But while it seems small next to other knives, it is exactly the size it should be. If you're doing EDC work, it'll handle it. You've got a long run of an edge there for EDC. I'm picking up some reflections there. See what that is. Just a little bit of grind marks showing on the edge, that's all. This one may need to get dressed up a little bit, but it is sharp in terms of what I call razor sharpness. It'll shave and it'll cut with paper, I'm sure. But again, the sizing in the Ergos, it's so flat. It's under ½ an inch, well under ½ an inch, and it's under 3 ounces. And it's coming up on 8 inches. It's under 8 inches, yes. But you've got plenty of blade there, very usable, and you got a handle that you can definitely hang on to. If you need to put down pressure there, you do have the jimping, and you've got this rough kind of internal jimping here that'll allow you to hold the knife back a ways, and you got more reach, or choke up. There's really no go forward here. I wouldn't use that. You're going to end up getting yourself snagged on that edge termination. What else can I say? Nice blue surrounds. What appears to be a slotted pivot screw. None on the other side, so we'll assume that's captured somehow. But yeah, I just noticed that. It's slotted, and I don't know if internally, nope, that is not a Torx. So you could use a standard screwdriver to take this down. Again, you got that nice blue surround on both sides. Nice little accent to an otherwise neutral colored knife. But that is the Tacit by Artisan, signed by Dirk Pinkerton. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give this video a like. Come back for some more, and you can do that by subscribing. See you soon. This Old Sword, signing out.